You are already at war. The battle is not with others. It's with your mind, your habits, your comfort. And the only way to win is to train daily. Mastery comes from repetition, from simplicity, from silence. In these next 30 days, you will stop chasing and start focusing. No more excuses, no more hesitation. The path to greatness is walked alone and walked with resolve. Watch this each morning and remember who you are meant to become. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind and tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you. The modern world begins with chaos, phones screaming, notifications demanding, minds already scattered before the first breath of morning. This is how the weak begin their day. This is how they ensure their defeat before the battle has even started. But you will begin differently. When you open your eyes, remain still. Feel the weight of your body, the silence before the storm. This is your first victory of the day, mastering the urge to immediately engage with the world's chaos. I spent decades perfecting the art of the sword, but before I ever lifted my blade each morning, I sat in absolute stillness. This practice was not meditation as you understand it today. It was preparation for war. Your morning ritual must carry the same weight, the same significance. Every great warrior throughout history understood this truth. The battle is won in the preparation, not in the moment of conflict. Rise before the sun. This is not about being an early bird or following some productivity guru's advice. This is about claiming the day before it claims you. In those dark, quiet hours, your mind is untouched by the world's pollution. Use this time wisely. The why. Darkness holds secrets that the light of day drowns out. Secrets of self-mastery, of inner strength, of unwavering resolve. Your morning ritual is sacred. It is not a checklist to rush through. Each movement should be deliberate, each action purposeful. Wash your face with the same focus you would apply to examining an opponent's stance. Dress yourself with the mindfulness of a warrior donning his armor. Your clothes are your armor now. Choose them with intention. Every piece should remind you of your purpose, your mission, your path to mastery. Do not reach for your phone. Do not immediately connect to the world's chaos. This time belongs to you, to your development, to your strengthening. The world can wait. Your growth cannot. In my time, warriors would spend hours preparing their minds and bodies before even touching their weapons. Today, your greatest weapon, your mind, requires the same dedication, the same reverence, the same unwavering focus. Create a space of absolute clarity. Whether it is a corner of your room or an entire chamber, this space should be clean, uncluttered, focused. No distractions, no complications, just you and your purpose. In this space, you are both the master and the student, the warrior and the battlefield. The environment you create will either strengthen or weaken your resolve. Choose wisely. Begin with breath, deep, controlled, purposeful. This is not relaxation, this is preparation. With each breath, feel your mind sharpening, your resolve strengthening. The weak see breathing as passive. The warrior knows it is an act of power. Your breath is the foundation of all action, all thought, all victory. Master it as you would master any weapon. Your morning sets the pattern for your entire day. A scattered morning creates a scattered mind. A focused morning forges a mind like a sword, sharp, precise, deadly in its purpose. I have seen countless warriors fall, not because of their opponent's strength, but because their own minds were cluttered, unfocused, unprepared. Your morning ritual is your defense against such weakness. The way of the warrior is not a part-time pursuit. It is not something you do when convenient. It is a way of life that begins the moment you open your eyes. Each morning is a new opportunity to prove your dedication, to strengthen your resolve, to move one step closer to mastery. The weak see morning as a burden. The warrior sees it as a battlefield, one where the greatest victory is the mastery of self. Remember, the way you begin determines how you end. Start weak, end weak. Start strong, with purpose and clarity, and watch how the day bends to your will, instead of you bending to it. This is not about motivation. Motivation is for the weak. This is about discipline, about unwavering dedication to your path. This is your first lesson. Master your mornings, and you begin to master your life. Now, tomorrow, when you open your eyes, remember these words. Remember that the warrior's path begins before the world wakes. Your training starts now. The choices you make in these first moments will echo throughout your day, your week, your life. Choose wisely. Choose with purpose. Choose like a warrior. Now, listen closely, for what I am about to teach you about the mind will determine whether you live as a warrior or die as a fool. Your mind, understand this, is the sharpest weapon you will ever possess. But like any blade, it must be forged in fire, tempered with discipline, and sharpened through constant practice. Most people live with a dull mind. They let their thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. They react to every stimulus, chase every distraction, submit to every impulse. This is the path of weakness. This is how battles are lost before they begin. A warrior's mind must be different. It must be focused, disciplined, deadly in its precision. In my years of combat, I discovered a truth that most will never understand. The greatest battles are not won with the sword, but with the mind. Before blade ever meets blade, before flesh meets flesh, the mind has already determined the victor. Your thoughts are not merely thoughts. They are the seeds of your actions, the foundation of your strength, the source of your power. But here is what separates the warrior from the dreamer: discipline. Your mind must be trained with the same rigor as your body. Every morning when you sit in silence as I taught you, your first task is to examine your thoughts. Watch them as you would watch an opponent. Study their patterns. Understand their weaknesses. Then, with the precision of a master swordsman, cut away what does not serve you. Fear, doubt, hesitation, these are the rust that dulls your blade. They must be identified and eliminated without mercy. When a thought of fear enters your mind, do not run from it. Face it, examine it, then cut it down with the sword of your resolve. This is how the warrior's mind is forged. Your attention, understand. This well is your most precious resource. In battle, a moment's distraction means death. In life, a scattered attention means mediocrity, weakness, failure. Guard your focus as you would guard your life. In this age of endless distraction, this becomes your greatest challenge and your greatest opportunity. The weak mind seeks constant stimulation. It jumps from thought to thought, task to task, never achieving depth, never reaching mastery. The warrior's mind is different. It has the power to maintain absolute focus on a single point, like a blade pressed against armor, until breakthrough is achieved. Develop this power through daily practice. Here is your task. Choose one skill, one objective, one focus for your mind each day. Pour all your mental energy into this single point. When distractions come, and they will come, cut them down without hesitation. This is how you develop mental strength. This is how you forge a mind that can cut through any obstacle. Remember, your thoughts become your reality. A mind filled with weakness will create a life of weakness. A mind forged in discipline will create a life of power. Every thought you allow to take root in your mind is either strengthening or weakening your position. Choose wisely. In my life, I faced countless opponents, but the greatest battles were always within my own mind. The desire to quit, to take the easier path, to listen to those who said it couldn't be done, these were the real enemies, and they could only be defeated through absolute mental discipline. Your mind must become like the surface of a still pond, undisturbed by the chaos around it, yet aware of everything. This state of calm awareness is your power. It allows you to see clearly, to think deeply, to act decisively. It is achieved not through relaxation, but through rigorous mental training. When others are reactive, you must be responsive. When others are scattered, you must be focused. When others are weak, you must be strong. This is the way of the warrior's mind. It is not a natural state. It must be cultivated through daily practice, through unwavering discipline, through constant vigilance. Your mind is your blade. Sharpen it through study. Strengthen it through challenge. Guard it through awareness. Use it with precision. This is not a choice. It is your duty as a warrior on this path. The battles you face will be won or lost in your mind long before they manifest in the world. Remember this truth and train accordingly. Listen well, for I will now teach you the most fundamental truth of mastery, one that most will hear, but few will truly understand. Repetition is not the path to mastery. Mindful, purposeful, unwavering repetition is the path. There is a vast difference between doing something 1,000 times and doing it 1,000 times with absolute presence and intention. In my lifetime, I fought over 60 duels and never once knew defeat. But my victories were not won in those moments of combat. They were won in the thousands of hours before, when I would perform the same cut, the same movement, the same step, over and over and over again. While others sought variety, I sought depth. While others learned 100 techniques, I mastered one. The fool believes that mastery comes from collecting many skills, from knowing many techniques, from constant variation. This is the path of perpetual mediocrity. True mastery comes from going deeper, not wider. When you find a movement that works, a technique that serves, you must dive into it with the dedication of a monk seeking enlightenment. Every repetition should be an exploration, a meditation, a chance to discover something new within something familiar. Consider the blade of a master swordsmith. He does not forge 1,000 different types of swords. He forges the same sword 1,000 times, each time seeking greater perfection, greater refinement, greater understanding. With each repetition, he discovers subtle truths that the casual observer could never comprehend. This is your path. Choose your techniques carefully, then commit to them with the totality of your being. If you decide to master a movement, a skill, a craft, then you must be willing to perform it 10,000 times, not with boredom, not with impatience, but with increasing fascination, with deepening awareness, with growing understanding. Each repetition should be approached as if it were both the first and the last. The warrior who has practiced one kick 10,000 times is infinitely more dangerous than the warrior who has practiced 10,000 kicks one time. This is not merely about physical technique. It is about developing an understanding so deep, so fundamental, that the technique becomes as natural as breathing. It becomes part of your very essence. But here is what separates the master from the amateur: the quality of attention brought to each repetition. The amateur repeats mindlessly, hoping that quantity alone will yield results. The master repeats mindfully, knowing that each repetition is an opportunity to polish the mirror of understanding, to eliminate another fraction of imperfection, to move one step closer to ultimate refinement. In your training, in your work, in your life, identify what truly matters. What techniques, what skills, what practices will serve your ultimate purpose? Once you have identified them, commit to them with the totality of your being. Do not be seduced by novelty. Do not be distracted by the endless parade of new methods, new systems, new approaches. Choose your path and walk it to its end. When you practice, eliminate all thought of entertainment, of variety, of making things interesting. These are the concerns of children. The warrior finds interest in depth, in the subtle variations that emerge through dedicated practice, in the microscopic improvements that accumulate over time into devastating power. Your mind will resist this. It will cry out for variety, for distraction, for easier paths. This resistance is your first opponent, and you must defeat it daily. Understand that this desire for constant change is a weakness, a manifestation of an undisciplined mind. The master embraces the monotony of practice, knowing that within this apparent sameness lies the secret of true power. Every morning, return to your basic techniques. Every day, polish what you know rather than grasping for what you don't. Every evening, reflect on the depth of your understanding rather than the breadth of your knowledge. This is the path of mastery. This is how legends are forged. Remember, the oak tree grows strong not by constantly seeking new soil, but by sending its roots deeper into the earth where it stands. Your practice must be the same. Do not scatter your energy across 1,000 different pursuits. Focus it, like a laser, on what truly matters. Let others chase the new and the novel. You will chase perfection in simplicity. This is the way of repetition, not mindless, but mindful. Not boring, but enlightening. Not a burden, but a path to power. Every repetition is a chance to discover something new within something familiar. Every practice session is an opportunity to forge your spirit in the fires of dedicated focus. This is how masters are made. This is how warriors are created. This is your path. Now I will teach you about your greatest enemy, one that destroys more warriors than any blade ever could. This enemy is comfort. It is subtle. It is seductive. And it is deadly. The modern world worships comfort, seeks it out, builds lives around it. But comfort is a poison that kills slowly, weakening you day by day until you are too soft to face life's true challenges. Understand this. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you choose weakness over strength. Every time you shy away from discomfort, you surrender a piece of your warrior spirit. The warm bed that calls you to stay when you should rise, the easy path that beckons when you should take the difficult one, the comfortable silence when you should speak truth. These are not mere choices. They are battles, and you are losing them. In my time, warriors would deliberately seek out discomfort. We would stand under frozen waterfalls, sleep on bare ground, train until our hands bled. Not because we enjoyed suffering, but because we understood a truth that modern society has forgotten. Strength is forged in discomfort. Power is built through challenge. Mastery is achieved by pushing beyond what feels good. Your body craves comfort. Your mind seeks the easy path. This is natural, but natural is not the same as right. The natural state of iron is to rust, yet we forge it into steel. The natural state of man is to seek comfort, yet we must forge ourselves into warriors. This transformation cannot happen in comfort. It happens only through deliberate, conscious engagement with discomfort. Every morning when you wake up, you face a choice, comfort or growth. The warm bed calls to you, promising just a few more minutes of peace. This is your first battle of the day. Win it. Rise immediately, without hesitation. Feel the discomfort of the cold morning air. Embrace it. This small victory sets the tone for all that follows. Your training must become progressively more challenging. If you can do 10 repetitions comfortably, do 15. If you can run a mile without strain, run 2. The moment you feel yourself adapting to a challenge, increase it. This is not about punishing yourself. It is about growing yourself. The warrior finds comfort in discomfort, knowing it is the path to power. In your daily life, deliberately seek out situations that make you uncomfortable. Speak when others are silent. Stand when others sit. Fast when others feast. Each moment of voluntary discomfort is a deposit in the bank of strength. Each challenge embraced is a step toward mastery. The weak seek comfort first and wonder why they remain weak. The warrior seeks growth first and finds that comfort becomes irrelevant. This is the paradox of the path. By embracing discomfort, you become comfortable with any situation. By seeking challenge, you become strong enough that few things challenge you. But remember this, discomfort without purpose is merely suffering. Choose your challenges wisely. Each discomfort should serve a greater purpose, should move you closer to your goals, should forge you into something stronger. The warrior does not seek pain for pain's sake, but embraces necessary hardship for the sake of growth. Your mind will resist this teaching. It will create 1,000 excuses why comfort is necessary, why rest is needed, why the easy path is acceptable. Just this once. Recognize these thoughts for what they are, the voice of weakness, the siren song of mediocrity. Cut through them with the sword of your resolve. In this age of convenience, of instant gratification, of cushioned lives, the path of the warrior becomes even more vital. While others soften, you must harden. While others seek escape, you must seek engagement. While others build lives around comfort, you must build yourself through challenge. The comfort you avoid today becomes the strength you possess tomorrow. The challenge you embrace this moment becomes the power you wield in the next. This is not philosophy. This is physics. This is the immutable law of growth. Nothing in nature grows without stress, without challenge, without pushing against resistance. Your greatest growth will come from your greatest challenges. Your deepest strength will emerge from your deepest discomfort. This is the way of the warrior. This is the path to power. Embrace discomfort as your teacher, challenge as your guide, hardship as your forge. This is how warriors are made. This is how legends are born. Listen carefully, for I am about to destroy one of the most dangerous illusions of your time, the myth of motivation. The weak wait for motivation before they act. They wait for inspiration before they move. They wait for the perfect feeling before they begin, and in this waiting, they waste their lives. Today, you will learn to kill this weakness within yourself. Understand this truth. Motivation is nothing but a feeling, and feelings are as changeable as the wind. One moment they blow strong, the next they die completely. The warrior who depends on motivation to act is like a soldier who depends on perfect weather to fight. Both are doomed to defeat. Both will fail when it matters most. In my time, I did not wake each morning feeling motivated to train. I did not face each duel feeling inspired. I did not perfect my art because I consistently felt like doing so. I achieved mastery because I acted regardless of feeling. This is the way of the warrior. Action without the need for motivation. Discipline without the crutch of inspiration. The modern world has created a dangerous expectation that you should feel good about what you're doing, that you should be excited about your tasks, that you should be motivated to act. This is poison. This is weakness. This is the thinking of children. The warrior understands that great deeds are accomplished not through motivation, but through discipline. Discipline is the ability to act against your feelings. It is the power to move when you feel stagnant, to train when you feel tired, to fight when you feel afraid. While others wait for motivation, you must cultivate discipline. While others seek inspiration, you must develop unwavering resolve. This is not a natural state. It must be forged through daily practice. Every morning when you wake, you have a choice: to act based on how you feel, or to act based on what must be done. Choose the latter. Every time, without exception, your feelings about your training do not matter. Your emotions about your work are irrelevant. What matters is your action. What counts is your discipline. The weak say, "I don't feel like it today." The warrior says, "My feelings are not part of this equation." The weak say, "I'll wait until I'm motivated." The warrior says, "I'll act until I'm successful." This is the fundamental difference between those who achieve mastery and those who remain mediocre. Here is your path. Identify what must be done, then do it every day, without fail, without excuse, without the need for motivation. If you must train, train. If you must work, work. If you must study, study. Your feelings about these tasks are as relevant as your feelings about breathing. They must be done regardless. But understand this: discipline is not punishment. It is not suffering for its own sake. Discipline is freedom. When you act without the need for motivation, you become unstoppable. When you move without requiring inspiration, you become unconquerable. This is true power, the ability to act, independent of emotional state. In your training, deliberately practice this separation of action from emotion. When you feel least like training, train hardest. When you feel least like working, work longest. When you feel least like persisting, persist most stubbornly. This is how you build the muscle of discipline. This is how you transcend the need for motivation. The reward for this practice is profound. You become reliable. Your word becomes unbreakable. Your actions become inevitable. While others rise and fall with their emotions, you move forward with the constancy of the sun. This reliability, this consistency, this unfailing discipline, this is what separates the warrior from the dreamer. Your mind will resist this teaching. It will demand motivation. It will seek inspiration. It will create endless excuses about why today is different, why today you need to feel right before acting. Recognize these thoughts as the voice of weakness. Cut through them with your discipline. Move forward regardless. Remember, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. But the master did not fail because of lack of motivation. The master failed while acting through discipline, learning through discipline, growing through discipline. This is your path now. This is your way forward. Kill your need for motivation. Bury your dependence on inspiration. Replace them with unwavering discipline. This is not a choice. It is a necessity. The battles you face, the challenges you meet, the goals you seek, none of these care about your feelings. They respond only to your actions. They yield only to your discipline. Now I will teach you about stillness, not the stillness of weakness, not the stillness of indecision, but the stillness of absolute power. In this racing world where movement is mistaken for progress and noise is mistaken for strength, true, stillness has become a lost art. Yet it is in stillness that the warrior finds their greatest power. Understand this: stillness is not the absence of movement, but the perfection of movement. When a sword rests in its sheath, it is not dead, it is waiting. When a tiger crouches before the strike, it is not passive, it is gathering force. This is the stillness I will teach you to master. This is the stillness that precedes all-powerful action. In my time, I would often sit in absolute stillness before a duel, while my opponents paced and practiced their cuts. They thought I was doing nothing. They were wrong. In that stillness, I was reading the air, feeling the ground, becoming one with the space. I was preparing in a way their restless minds could not understand. This stillness was more powerful than any physical preparation. Your mind rebels against stillness. It craves movement, action, distraction. This constant internal movement is the source of your weakness. It scatters your power, fragments your focus, dilutes your strength. Learn to make your mind still, not empty, still. Like a deep lake, unmoving on the surface but full of life beneath. Begin each day with stillness. Before you check your phone, before you begin your tasks, before you engage with the world's chaos, be still. Feel your breath. Feel the weight of your body. Feel the presence of your own being. This is not meditation as the monks practice it. This is warrior's meditation. Alert, aware, ready. In this stillness, you will begin to notice things that the restless mind misses. The subtle shift of energy in a room, the hidden meaning behind someone's words, the perfect moment to act. The weak mind, always in motion, misses these crucial details. The still mind sees all, understands all, knows when to strike and when to wait. But remember this: stillness is not passivity, it is not withdrawal, it is intense presence. When you are still, you should be like a drawn bow, motionless but full of potential energy. Your stillness should be like the surface of a pond, calm but aware of every leaf that falls upon it. This is active stillness. This is warrior's stillness. In your training, practice moments of absolute stillness between movements. Don't rush from one action to the next. Be still. Let each movement complete itself before beginning the next. Feel the point of perfect balance. Between actions, this is where power is generated. This is where precision is born. The modern world fears stillness. It fills every moment with noise, every second with movement. This is the behavior of the weak. They move constantly because they fear what stillness might reveal. They talk endlessly because they fear what silence might say. The warrior embraces both stillness and silence, knowing they are the source of true strength. Your stillness must become like a fortress, unshakable by external chaos, unmoved by others' restlessness. When others rush, be still. When others speak, be silent. When others react, be responsive. This stillness will become your power. This silence will become your strength. In combat, the greatest danger comes not from the opponent's movement, but from their stillness. Any fool can see an attack in motion, but the master can read the attack in stillness, can sense the strike before it begins. This skill begins with mastering your own stillness. Only the warrior who knows true stillness can read it in others. Practice stillness in the midst of chaos. When the world around you is in panic, be the eye of the storm. When others are reactive, be responsive. When others are agitated, be calm. This is not a passive state. It is a state of highest alertness, of perfect readiness. Your power will not come from how fast you can move, but from how still you can be before moving. Your strength will not come from how much you can do, but from how centered you can remain while doing it. This is the paradox of stillness. It is the foundation of all powerful action. Remember, the arrow flies true not because of the bow's movement, but because of the archer's stillness. The sword cuts clean not because of the blade's action, but because of the warrior's center. Your greatest power will come not from what you do, but from the stillness from which you do it. This is the way of the warrior. This is the power of stillness. Listen now as I teach you about focus, the quality that separates the master from the amateur, the warrior from the wanderer. In my time, a sword was only as effective as the focus of the one who wielded it. Today, your mind must become that sword, cutting through distraction, penetrating to the heart of what matters, maintaining its edge against the constant assault of trivial concerns. The modern world is designed to scatter your focus. It throws 1,000 distractions at you each hour, each one claiming to be urgent, each one promising to be important. This is not accident. This is warfare. Your attention is under constant attack, and you are losing this battle. Today, this changes. Understand this fundamental truth. A blade cannot cut in all directions at once. A warrior cannot face all opponents simultaneously. A mind cannot solve all problems in the same moment. This is not a limitation. This is the source of power. True strength comes from perfect focus on a single point, a single task, a single objective. When I developed my two-sword technique, I did not begin by trying to master both swords at once. I focused entirely on my right hand until it moved without thought. Then, and only then, did I begin to train my left. This is how mastery is achieved, not through divided attention, but through absolute focus on one point until mastery is achieved. Your mind must become like a blade, sharp, singular in purpose, cutting through all distraction. When you work, work. When you train, train. When you rest, rest. This separation of focus is crucial. The warrior who tries to do many things at once accomplishes nothing. The warrior who focuses entirely on one task becomes unstoppable. Here is your task. Choose one objective for each block of time. One single, clear, defined objective. Then eliminate everything that does not serve this objective. Your phone does not serve your training. Turn it off. Social media does not serve your work. Close it. The opinions of others do not serve your growth. Ignore them. Your focus must become like a laser, concentrated, intense, capable of cutting through any obstacle. This requires practice. This requires discipline. This requires the courage to say no to 1,000 good things so you can say yes to one great thing. The weak try to focus on many things. The warrior focuses on one thing with the intensity of 1,000 suns. In your training, in your work, in your life, develop the habit of singular focus. When you pick up your sword, whether that sword is a book, a tool, or an actual blade, give it your complete attention. Do not let your mind wander to what came before or what comes after. Be entirely present with the task at hand. The mind will resist this. It will create emergencies to distract you. It will invent reasons why you must divide your attention. It will tell you that you are missing out, falling behind, failing to keep up. These are lies. These are the whispers of weakness. The only thing you miss through focus is distraction. The only thing you lose through concentration is confusion. Your power will grow in direct proportion to your ability to focus. When you can maintain perfect concentration for 1 minute, extend it to 5. When you can focus for 5 minutes, extend it to 30. When you can maintain focus for 30 minutes, extend it to 2 hours. This is not about duration. It is about intensity. Better to focus completely for 5 minutes than to half focus for 5 hours. Learn to recognize the feeling of true focus. It is not a strained state. It is not a stressed state. It is a state of absolute clarity, of perfect alignment between intention and action. When you achieve this state, time seems to slow down. Distractions fade away. Only the task before you exists. But remember this. Focus is not just about what you give your attention to. It is also about what you ignore. The warrior must learn to be ruthless in this selection. 1,000 things will demand your attention. 100 people will claim their needs are urgent. 10 opportunities will present themselves as essential. Focus demands that you cut through this noise with the same decisiveness you would use to cut through an enemy's attack. Your focus must become legendary. When others scatter their attention across a dozen tasks, you must concentrate yours on one. When others try to do everything, you must focus on doing one thing perfectly. This is not limitation. This is liberation. This is not restriction. This is power. Remember, the sun only burns through paper when focused through a lens. Your mind only achieves its full power when focused on a single point. This is the way of the warrior. This is the path to mastery. Let others pride themselves on their ability to multitask. You will pride yourself on your ability to focus with the intensity of a warrior preparing for battle. Now I will teach you one of the most difficult lessons a warrior must learn, the art of detachment from outcome. This teaching may seem to contradict everything you believe about success, about achievement, about victory, yet it holds the key to true power, true mastery, and true peace in battle. Listen carefully. Your attachment to outcomes is your greatest weakness. When you fixate on results, you become blind to process. When you obsess over victory, you plant the seeds of defeat. When you chase success, you run from the very things that would make you successful. This is the great paradox of the warrior's path. In my 60 duels, I never once thought about winning. I thought about movement. I thought about position. I thought about breath. I thought about the perfect cut, but I never thought about victory. Victory was not my concern. Perfection of action was my only focus. This is how I remained undefeated. This is how you will become unstoppable. Understand this truth. The outcome of any battle, any endeavor, any challenge is not entirely in your control. There are too many variables, too many unknowns, too many factors beyond your influence. What is in your control? Your preparation, your focus, your effort, your form, your discipline. These are the only things worthy of your attention. The weak mind constantly asks, will I succeed? Will I fail? Will I win? Will I lose? These questions are poison. They create tension. They breed fear. They split your focus. The warrior's mind asks only, is this the perfect action for this moment? Is this the absolute best I can do right? Now, these questions lead to power. They create clarity. They build strength. When you train with perfect form. Not for the sake of results, but for the sake of perfect form itself. When you work, work with absolute focus. Not for the sake of success, but for the sake of perfect execution. When you fight, fight with complete presence. Not for the sake of victory, but for the sake of perfect action. This detachment from outcome does not mean you become passive. It does not mean you stop caring about results. It means you care so deeply about the quality of your actions that results become a natural consequence rather than a desperate goal. This is the profound truth that few understand. Your mind will resist this teaching. It will demand guarantees. It will crave certainty. It will beg for promises of success. Recognize these thoughts as the voice of weakness. The need for certainty is the enemy of greatness. The demand for guarantees is the killer of mastery. In your daily practice, begin to notice your attachments. Notice how you tense when thinking about results. Notice how you hesitate when uncertain of success. Notice how you hold back when afraid of failure. These are the moments to apply this teaching. These are the opportunities to practice detachment. Instead of focusing on the target, focus on your grip. Instead of focusing on the goal, focus on your stance. Instead of focusing on the outcome, focus on your breath. This is not philosophy. This is practical warfare. The arrow flies truer when the archer forgets about hitting the target and focuses solely on perfect form. But remember, detachment is not indifference. It is not apathy. It is the highest form of commitment to perfect action regardless of outcome. The warrior cares so deeply about their art that they transcend the need for specific results. This is true mastery. Your power will grow in direct proportion to your ability to detach from outcomes. When you release the need for specific results, you access your full capabilities. When you stop demanding certainty, you become adaptable. When you cease clutching at success, you become truly successful. This teaching applies to all aspects of life. In your work, focus on perfect execution rather than rewards. In your relationships, focus on perfect presence rather than responses. In your training, focus on perfect form rather than progress. The results will come, but they will come as natural consequences of your dedication to perfect action. Remember, the master archer hits the target without looking at it, not because they don't care about hitting it, but because they care so much about perfect form that hitting the target becomes inevitable. This is your path now. This is your way forward. Let others chase outcomes. You will chase perfection in every action, every moment, every breath. Now I will reveal to you the most dangerous battlefield you will ever face, the war within yourself. Listen carefully, for this enemy is more cunning than any opponent you will meet with a sword, more deadly than any adversary you will face in combat. This enemy knows your weaknesses because it created them. This enemy knows your fears because it whispers them to you each day. Understand this truth. Your greatest enemy is not external. It is not the competitor who challenges you, not the obstacle that blocks you, not the mountain that stands before you. Your greatest enemy lies within. It is the voice that tells you to delay, the force that pulls you toward comfort, the whisper that breeds doubt in your moments of decision. In my years of combat, I faced many skilled warriors, but none were as dangerous as the enemy within myself, the voice that suggested retreat, the doubt that preceded action, the fear that lived in the shadows of my mind. To become a warrior, you must first learn to recognize this enemy. You must learn to spot its tactics, understand its strategies, and counter its attacks. The inner enemy has many faces. Sometimes it appears as laziness, the voice that says, "Do it tomorrow." Sometimes it appears as doubt, the whisper that says, "You're not ready." Sometimes it appears as fear, the feeling that says, "Play it safe." Learn to recognize these faces. They are all masks worn by the same enemy. This enemy is subtle. It does not attack directly. It undermines. It does not fight fairly. It sabotages. It does not confront you in the light of day. It works in the shadows of your mind. When you plan to rise early, It creates the most compelling reasons to sleep late. When you commit to training, it manufactures the most convincing excuses to rest. When you decide to act, it produces the most reasonable arguments for delay. Your first task is awareness. Begin to watch your thoughts as you would watch an opponent's movements. Notice the patterns of self-sabotage. Notice the recurring excuses. Notice the familiar fears. This awareness is your first weapon against the inner enemy. Without awareness, you fight blindly. With awareness, you can strike with precision. The inner enemy's greatest weapon is delay. It knows that if it can make you hesitate, it has already won. If it can make you doubt, it has already succeeded. If it can make you wait for the perfect moment, it has already defeated you. The warrior's response must be immediate action. When the inner enemy says wait, you must move. When it says later, you must act now. When it says not yet, you must strike immediately. But remember this, fighting the inner enemy is not about self-hatred. It is not about waging war against yourself. It is about liberation. It is about freeing yourself from the forces that would keep you small, keep you safe, keep you from becoming who you are meant to be. This is not destruction. It is transformation. Your training must become a daily battle against this inner enemy. Each morning when you rise, you face it. Each time you step into the training ground, you confront it. Each moment of decision is a skirmish. Each act of discipline is a victory. The warrior's path is not about winning these battles once. It is about winning them continuously, relentlessly, without end. Learn to recognize the enemy's favorite tactics. It loves to use comparison, showing you others who are resting while you train, others who are playing while you work, others who are taking the easy path while you choose the difficult one. It excels at creating doubt, questioning your methods, your timing, your readiness, your worth. It specializes in distraction, offering you easier paths, softer options, more comfortable choices. Your power lies in your response to these tactics. When the enemy within shows you others taking the easy path, train harder. When it questions your methods, execute them with even greater precision. When it offers you distraction, focus more intensely. Turn its weapons against it. Use its resistance as strength training for your will. The inner enemy never dies. It never surrenders. It never stops trying to undermine your progress. This is not a weakness in you. This is the nature of the path. The warrior accepts this constant challenge as the price of growth, as the cost of greatness, as the toll for traveling the path of mastery. Remember, every great warrior throughout history faced this same enemy. Every master had to overcome these same doubts, these same fears, these same temptations to take the easier path. What separated them from others was not the absence of the inner enemy, but their relentless determination to fight it, their unwavering commitment to overcome it, their absolute refusal to surrender to it. This is your battle now. This is your war. Every day, every hour, every moment of choice, you are either winning or losing against this inner enemy. Choose victory. Choose it continuously. Choose it relentlessly. This is the way of the warrior. This is the path to mastery. Now I will teach you about the power of decisive action, a lesson that has determined the outcome of countless battles, both with the sword and with life itself. Understand this. Hesitation is not caution. Hesitation is not wisdom. Hesitation is death. In combat, in business, in life, the moment between decision and action is a battlefield where most battles are lost. Listen carefully. There are two types of warriors in this world. The first type decides to act, then thinks about the decision while acting. The second type decides to act, then acts immediately without allowing thought to create doubt. The first type dies in battle. The second type shapes the world. Which will you be? In my duels, I discovered a truth that most will never understand. The perfect moment is a myth. The perfect condition is an illusion. The perfect circumstance is a lie that the weak tell themselves to justify their hesitation. There is only this moment, this condition, this circumstance. And in this moment, you must move with absolute conviction. Your mind creates the hesitation. It wants to be certain. It wants to be safe. It wants to be sure. But certainty is the enemy of action. Safety is the killer of achievement. Surety is the destroyer of opportunity. The warrior must learn to act with clarity but without certainty, with confidence but without guarantee. When you decide to strike, strike. When you decide to move, move. When you decide to act, act. Do not let the space between decision and action become a graveyard for your intentions. This space is where doubt creeps in. This space is where fear takes root. This space is where defeat is born, but understand this. Decisive action does not mean reckless action. Before the decision, think deeply, consider carefully, plan thoroughly. But once the decision is made, execute immediately. This is the warrior's way. This is the path of power. The time for thought is before the decision. The time for action is the instant after. In your training, practice this principle. When you decide to begin, begin immediately. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for energy. Do not wait for the perfect moment. These are all forms of hesitation, dressed in reasonable clothes. The only perfect moment is now. The only perfect condition is the one you face. The only perfect circumstance is the one you stand in. Your power will grow in direct proportion to your ability to close the gap between decision and action. When you decide to wake early, rise immediately. When you decide to train, begin instantly. When you decide to change, act now. This immediate execution builds a power that hesitation can never understand. The weak mind creates elaborate reasons for delay. It says, I will start when I have more time. It says, I will act when I feel more ready. It says, I will begin when conditions improve. Recognize these thoughts for what they are: the whispers of fear, the voice of hesitation, the sound of defeat approaching. In combat, the warrior who hesitates has already lost. In life, the person who delays has already failed. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Motion beats hesitation. Action defeats doubt. Movement conquers fear. This is true in every arena, every battlefield, every moment of decision. Your confidence will not come from knowing the outcome. It will come from knowing that whatever the outcome, you can handle it. This is the warrior's confidence, not the certainty of success, but the certainty of capability. Not the guarantee of victory, but the guarantee of response to whatever comes. Practice decisive action in small things so you can execute it in large things. When you decide to drink water, drink immediately. When you decide to stand, stand immediately. When you decide to speak, speak immediately. Build the habit of immediate execution in these small moments, and it will serve you in the great ones. Remember, the arrow cannot fly while the archer questions the wind. The sword cannot cut while the warrior doubts the strike. Your potential cannot manifest while you hesitate to act. This is the law of power. This is the truth of achievement. This is the way of the warrior. Let others hesitate. Let others delay. Let others wait for perfect conditions. You will act. You will move. You will execute. This is not about being reckless. It is about being decisive. This is not about being impulsive. It is about being immediate. This is not about being thoughtless. It is about thinking before the decision, not after. Your life will be shaped, not by your decisions, but by how quickly you act on them. The gap between decision and action is where most dreams die, where most goals fade, where most intentions evaporate. Close this gap. Eliminate this space. Move with the immediacy of a warrior and the precision of a master. This is your path now. This is your way forward. Now I will teach you a truth that most overlook, yet it determines the outcome of every battle before it begins. Your body is the physical manifestation of your mind. The way you stand, the way you move, the way you hold yourself, these are not mere habits. They are declarations of your inner state, revelations of your mental discipline, expressions of your warrior spirit. Listen carefully. Your body does not lie. When your mind is weak, your shoulders slouch. When your spirit is broken, your eyes drop. When your resolve falters, your stance weakens. These are not coincidences. They are correlations. The body speaks what the mind thinks, reveals what the spirit feels, demonstrates what the heart believes. In my years of combat, I could read an opponent's mind by watching their body. The slight tremor in their hands revealed their fear. The tension in their shoulders showed their doubt. The rhythm of their breathing exposed their state of mind. This is true not just in combat, but in all aspects of life. Your body is constantly broadcasting your thoughts to the world. But understand this deeper truth. The relationship between mind and body is not a one-way street. Just as your thoughts shape your posture shapes your thoughts. Just as your spirit affects your movement affects your spirit. This is where your power lies, in the ability to use your body to strengthen your mind. When you feel weak, stand strong. When you feel afraid, breathe deep. When you feel uncertain, move with purpose. This is not fake it till you make it. This is the warrior's understanding of the unity of mind and body. Change the physical, and the mental will follow. Transform the outer, and the inner will respond. Your training must address both body and mind as one unified system. When you train your body, you train your mind. When you discipline your movement, you discipline your thoughts. When you refine your form, you refine your spirit. This is why physical training is not separate from mental training. They are the same practice viewed from different angles. Watch how you carry yourself through each day. Do you move like a warrior or shuffle like a slave? Do you stand like a master or slouch like a servant? Do you walk with purpose or wander without direction? These are not minor details. They are fundamental expressions of your inner state, and they are either strengthening or weakening your warrior spirit. The weak think that posture is about appearance. The warrior knows that posture is about power. When you align your spine, you align your spirit. When you open your chest, you open your heart. When you ground your stance, you ground your mind. These physical adjustments create mental transformations. Your daily practice, begin with the body. Before you try to focus your mind, align your spine. Before you attempt to build courage, open your chest. Before you seek to find certainty, ground your stance. The body is the gateway to the mind, the physical key to mental transformation. But remember, this is not about creating a false image. It is not about pretending to be something you're not. It is about using the body's wisdom to awaken the warrior within you. It is about aligning your physical form with your highest potential, your deepest truth, your strongest self. Your body must become your ally in the pursuit of mastery. Every movement should be conscious. Every posture should be intentional. Every action should be aligned with your warrior spirit. This requires constant awareness, continuous adjustment, unrelenting attention to the messages your body is sending to your mind and the world. In moments of doubt, check your posture. In times of fear, examine your breathing. In periods of weakness, assess your movement. Then make the physical adjustments that will create the mental state you seek. Stand like a warrior to think like a warrior. Move like a master to become a master. Train your body with the understanding that you are training your mind. Exercise not just for strength, but for discipline. Stretch not just for flexibility, but for resilience. Move not just for health, but for power. Every physical practice should have both an outer and an inner purpose. Remember, the greatest warriors in history understood this unity of body and mind. They knew that physical discipline creates mental discipline, that bodily strength builds spiritual strength, that outer mastery reflects inner mastery. This is not philosophy. This is practical warfare. This is not theory. This is the way of the warrior. Your journey to mastery must include this understanding. every day, every moment, your body is either reinforcing your warrior spirit or undermining it. There's no neutral ground. There's no middle path. You're either using your body to build your power or allowing it to diminish your strength. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose like a warrior. Now I will teach you a truth that runs counter to everything your world celebrates: the power of less. In an age where more is worshipped, where excess is celebrated, where accumulation is seen as success, you must learn the warrior's truth. True power comes from simplicity. True strength emerges from what you remove, not what you add. Listen carefully. Every possession you own demands a piece of your attention. Every item you acquire requires a fraction of your energy. Everything you collect occupies a portion of your mind. These are not mere objects. They are anchors. They are weights. They are chains that bind you to the ground when you should be free to move like the wind. In my time, I carried only what I could use: a sword, a book, a change of clothes. This was not poverty. This was power. This was not deprivation. This was liberation. When you carry nothing unnecessary, you can move without hindrance. When you own nothing superfluous, you can think without distraction. When you possess only what serves your purpose, you become unstoppable. Your world is drowning in possessions. Look around you. How many of your belongings truly serve your growth? How many of your possessions actually contribute to your power? How many of your items genuinely aid your mission? Most are not tools. They are burdens. Most are not assets. They are liabilities. Most are not sources of strength. They are drains on your energy. But understand this: minimalism is not about owning nothing. It is about owning only what strengthens you. The warrior does not reject possessions entirely. The warrior chooses possessions purposefully. Each item must earn its place. Each object must justify its existence. Each possession must contribute to your power rather than diminish it. In your training, apply this principle first to your equipment. Do not collect endless tools, endless gear, endless accessories. Choose few, but choose well. A single perfect blade is worth more than 100 mediocre ones. A single well-chosen tool is more valuable than a warehouse of unused equipment. Quality over quantity, purpose over variety, function over form. This principle extends beyond physical possessions. Apply it to your knowledge. Better to master one technique completely than to know 100 superficially. Apply it to your relationships. Better to have few deep connections than many shallow ones. Apply it to your goals. Better to pursue one mission with total commitment than to chase many with divided attention. The weak mind seeks more options, more possibilities, more choices. The warrior's mind seeks clarity, simplicity, precision. More options create confusion. More possibilities breed hesitation. More choices lead to paralysis. Reduce, simplify, eliminate, until only the essential remains. This is the path to power. Your training environment should reflect this truth. Clear your training space of everything that does not directly serve your practice. Remove every distraction, every unnecessary item, every potential excuse. What remains will be pure, focused, powerful. This physical clarity creates mental clarity. This external simplicity generates internal power. But remember, this is not about arbitrary deprivation. This is not about rejecting the world. This is about conscious choice. This is about purposeful selection. This is about optimizing your life for power rather than pleasure, for growth rather than comfort, for mastery rather than amusement. The hardest part of this practice is not deciding what to eliminate. It is defending your simplicity against the world's constant pressure to add more. Society will tell you that more is better, that accumulation is success, that consumption is power. These are the lies that keep warriors weak, that keep masters mediocre, that keep the strong contained. Your power will grow in direct proportion to your ability to eliminate the unnecessary. When you remove what does not serve you, you create space for what does. When you clear away what weakens you, you make room for what strengthens you. When you let go of what holds you back, you free yourself to move forward. Practice this principle daily. Before you acquire anything new, ask, will this serve my growth? Before you keep anything old, ask, does this strengthen my purpose? Before you accept anything offered, ask, will this aid my mission? Be ruthless in these assessments. Be unflinching in these choices. Be warrior-like in these decisions. Remember, the most powerful forces in nature are also the simplest. Water does not need accessories to cut through rock. Wind does not need equipment to shape mountains. Fire does not need possessions to transform matter. Your power, like theirs, will come from your essence, not your accessories. Your strength will emerge from your core, not your collections. This is the warrior's way, to be powerful through simplicity, to be strong through reduction, to be unstoppable. Through elimination of the unnecessary. Let others gather possessions. You will gather power. Let others accumulate things. You will accumulate strength. Let others chase more. You will master less. Now I will teach you perhaps the hardest truth of the warrior's path, the necessity of walking alone. In an age where connection is constant, where approval is sought hourly, where validation comes through likes and comments, you must learn this ancient truth. The path to mastery is walked in solitude. The journey to power is traveled alone. Listen carefully. The crowd will never understand the warrior. The masses will never comprehend the master. The majority will never grasp the path you have chosen. This is not their fault. It is the nature of the path itself. The way of the warrior is not meant for the many. It is meant for the few who dare to walk alone. In my time, I refused to join any school, to pledge to any master, to align with any group. This was not arrogance, it was necessity. This was not pride, it was clarity. The deepest truths cannot be taught by others. The greatest power cannot be given by the crowd. The highest wisdom cannot be found in the marketplace of common opinion. Understand this. Every step toward mastery is a step away from the ordinary. Every move toward power is a move away from the common. Every stride toward greatness is a stride away from the familiar. This creates a distance between you and others, a distance that you must learn to accept, to embrace, to understand as necessary. The weak seek constant companionship because they fear their own company. They need constant validation because they doubt their own worth. They require constant approval because they lack inner certainty. The warrior must be different. Your certainty must come from within. Your validation must emerge from your practice. Your approval must arise from your adherence to the path. But remember this, walking alone does not mean walking in isolation. It does not mean rejecting others or denying relationships. It means maintaining your direction regardless of whether others walk with you. It means holding your course regardless of whether others understand it. It means staying true to your path regardless of whether others approve of it. In your training, learn to embrace solitude. Learn to find comfort in the quiet moments when you face yourself without distraction, without company, without external validation. These moments are not empty. They are full of opportunity for growth, for insight, for strengthening of your warrior spirit. The crowd will try to pull you back. They will call your dedication extreme. They will label your discipline excessive. They will term your focus obsessive. Understand that these reactions come from their discomfort, not your error. The crowd fears what it does not understand, and the warrior's path is beyond their understanding. Your power will grow in proportion to your ability to walk alone. When others seek company, seek solitude. When others seek distraction, seek focus. When others seek ease, seek challenge. This is not about being antisocial. It is about being purpose-driven. This is not about being aloof. It is about being aligned with your path. The hardest moments will come when you must choose between acceptance and growth, between belonging and becoming. In these moments, remember, the pain of walking alone is temporary, but the pain of abandoning your path is permanent. The discomfort of solitude is fleeting, but the agony of surrendering your warrior spirit is eternal. Your journey will not be understood by many. Your choices will not be approved by most. Your path will not be validated by the crowd. This is as it should be. The path that can be understood by everyone is not the true path. The way that can be approved by all is not the warrior's way. The journey that can be validated by the masses is not the journey to mastery. Train yourself to find strength in solitude. Train yourself to find power in independence. Train yourself to find certainty in your own conviction. The crowd's opinion becomes irrelevant, not when you learn to ignore it, but when you learn to value your own truth more highly than their approval. Remember, every great warrior throughout history walked alone. Every true master forged their own path. Every genuine legend stepped away from the crowd. This is not coincidence. This is causation. Greatness cannot be achieved by committee. Power cannot be developed by consensus. Mastery cannot be attained in company. This is your path now, the path of the solitary warrior, the lone master, the independent spirit. Do not fear this solitude. Do not resist this independence. Do not fight this separation. Embrace it as necessary. Accept it as vital. Understand it as essential to your development. Let others walk in groups. You will walk alone. Let others seek consensus. You will seek truth. Let others chase approval. You will chase mastery. This is not a choice. It is a necessity. This is not a preference. It is a requirement. This is not a phase. It is the way. Now I will teach you about a state of being that most never understand. Yet it determines survival in every battle, every challenge, every crucial moment, the state of constant readiness. Listen carefully, for this teaching separates the warrior from the civilian, the master from the amateur, the survivor from the victim. Understand this fundamental truth. Life does not announce its battles. Challenges do not schedule their arrival. Opportunities do not declare their appearance. The warrior, who trains only for known challenges, will be destroyed by unknown ones. The master who prepares only for expected tests will be defeated by unexpected ones. In my time, I lived by a principle that kept me alive through 60 duels and countless battles. Treat every moment as if it were moments before combat, not with tension, not with fear, not with anxiety, but with awareness, with readiness, with the calm certainty of one who is prepared for anything. This is not paranoia. This is power. This is not fear. This is freedom. Your modern world has created an illusion of safety, a fantasy of security, a delusion of predictability. This is the most dangerous time to be alive, not because there is more danger, but because there is more complacency. The warrior must see through this illusion. The master must transcend this fantasy. The truth is, you are always moments away from a battle, always. But understand this, readiness is not tension. It is not constant stress. It is not perpetual anxiety. True readiness is a state of calm alertness, of relaxed awareness, of peaceful preparedness. Like a tiger at rest, completely relaxed yet able to move with lethal speed in any direction, at any moment. This is your model. This is your goal. In your training, cultivate this state of relaxed readiness. When you sit, sit with awareness. When you stand, stand with presence. When you walk, walk with attention. Every moment is training. Every situation is practice. Every interaction is preparation. The warrior does not need to shift into a ready state. The warrior lives in a ready state. Your power will come not from tensing up in moments of challenge, but from maintaining your center in every moment, not from gathering your strength when threats appear, but from cultivating your strength continuously, not from preparing for specific battles, but from living in a state of perpetual preparation. Most people live in cycles of preparation and relaxation. They prepare for known challenges, then relax until the next one appears. This is the path of the amateur. The warrior's path is different. For the warrior, preparation and relaxation are the same state. Readiness and rest are the same condition. Alertness and peace are the same experience. Train yourself to find comfort in readiness. Train yourself to find peace in preparation. Train yourself to find relaxation in awareness. This is not a contradiction. It is the highest form of living. This is not a burden. It is the ultimate freedom. When you are always ready, you are never caught off guard. When you are always prepared, you are never surprised. The weak think readiness means constant tension. The warrior knows readiness means constant centering. The weak think preparation means constant worry. The warrior knows preparation means constant practice. The weak think awareness means constant fear. The warrior knows awareness means constant clarity. Your daily life must become your preparation. Every movement should refine your readiness. Every interaction should sharpen your awareness. Every experience should deepen your preparation. This is not about adding more training. It is about transforming your entire life into training. Remember, the warrior who is ready only sometimes will be defeated eventually. The warrior who is prepared only occasionally will be surprised inevitably. The warrior who is aware only periodically will be overwhelmed ultimately. Readiness must become your natural state. Preparation must become your normal condition. Awareness must become your default mode. This teaching applies to all aspects of life. In your work, be ready for any challenge. In your relationships, be prepared for any situation. In your path, be aware of any opportunity. Not with tension, not with stress, not with fear, but with the calm certainty of one who has made readiness their way of life. The highest form of readiness is when it becomes invisible to others, yet remains ever present within you, like a sword, in its sheath, perfectly still, yet perfectly lethal, like a bow undrawn, completely at rest, yet completely powerful, like a warrior in repose, totally relaxed, yet totally prepared. This is your path now, to live in constant readiness, without constant tension, to maintain perpetual preparation without perpetual stress, to cultivate continuous awareness without continuous anxiety. This is not a technique to be practiced. It is a way of life to be lived. This is not a state to be achieved. It is a truth to be embodied. Let others live in cycles of preparation and relaxation. You will live in constant readiness. Let others shift between states of awareness and unconsciousness. You will maintain perpetual presence. Let others move between moments of strength and weakness. You will cultivate continuous power. This is the way of the warrior. This is the path of mastery. Now I will teach you about the relationship between words and actions, a truth that separates the true warrior from the mere talker, the genuine master from the empty boaster. Listen carefully, for in this age of endless talk, of constant declaration, of perpetual pronouncement, this teaching becomes more vital than ever. Understand this: words are not neutral. They are not harmless. They are not without consequence. Every word you speak creates a debt that must be paid in action. Every declaration you make becomes a contract with yourself and the world. Every promise you utter becomes a blade that will either serve you through fulfillment or wound you through failure. In my time, warriors understood that to speak of an action was to commit to that action. To declare an intention was to bind oneself to that intention. To voice a promise was to stake one's honor on that promise. This was not mere custom. It was wisdom. This was not simple tradition. It was power. The fewer the words, the stronger their weight. The rarer the speech, the greater its impact. Your modern world drowns in empty words. People declare intentions they never fulfill, make promises they never keep, proclaim values they never live. They speak of training they will never do, of battles they will never fight, of achievements they will never pursue. Their words become a fog that obscures their lack of action, a noise that drowns out their absence of commitment. But understand this deeper truth: every unfulfilled word weakens you. Every unkept promise diminishes you. Every empty declaration reduces you. This is not about others' judgment. This is about internal alignment. This is not about external reputation. This is about internal integrity. The warrior's power comes from the perfect alignment of word and deed, of speech and action, of declaration and execution. In your training, begin with this principle. Speak only what you will do. Declare only what you will achieve. Promise only what you will fulfill. This is not about limiting your ambition. It is about focusing your power. This is not about reducing your goals. It is about ensuring your words are catalysts for action, rather than substitutes for it. The weak speak to impress others. The warrior speaks to commit themselves. The weak use words to appear strong. The warrior uses words to define their action. The weak talk about what they will do someday. The warrior speaks only of what they are doing now or will do immediately. Your words must become as precise as sword cuts, as measured as arrow shots, as purposeful as warriors' movements. Before you speak of an intention, ask, am I ready to act on this now? Before you make a declaration, ask, will I fulfill this today? Before you make a promise, ask, am I prepared to stake my honor on this? Learn to find power in silence. Learn to discover strength in measured speech. Learn to cultivate force in chosen words. The warrior who speaks rarely but acts consistently is infinitely more powerful than the one who speaks constantly but acts rarely. Your power will grow not from what you say, but from how completely your actions align with what you've said. When you do speak, let your words be like vows. When you do declare, let your declarations be like contracts written in blood. When you do promise, let your promises be like unbreakable bonds. This is not dramatic. This is discipline. This is not extreme. This is excellence. This is not unnecessary. This is the way of the warrior. Remember, the true measure of a warrior is not in what they say they will do, but in what they have done. Not in what they claim they can do, but in what they consistently do. Not in what they promise to do, but in what they prove they do. Your actions must become so loud that your words become almost unnecessary. Practice this discipline daily. Before each statement, pause. Before each declaration, reflect. Before each promise, consider. Is this word necessary? Is this declaration backed by immediate action? Is this promise within my power to fulfill? Let your speech become as considered as your sword draws, as measured as your arrow knocks, as purposeful as your steps in combat. This teaching will set you apart in a world of empty talk. While others speak endlessly of what they will do, you will speak rarely but act consistently. While others make grand declarations about tomorrow, you will make measured statements about today and fulfill them before sunset. While others promise the world, you will promise little but deliver everything you promise. Your character will be built not by what you say, but by how perfectly your actions align with what you've said. Your reputation will be established not by your words, but by the consistent fulfillment of your words. Your power will grow not from your speech, but from the unbreakable connection between your speech and your deeds. This is the way of the warrior, to speak little but do much, to declare rarely but fulfill completely, to promise seldom but deliver always. Let others fill the air with empty words. You will fill the world with aligned action. Let others speak of what they might do. You will speak only of what you are doing. Let others make promises they hope to keep. You will make only promises. You will die to fulfill. Now I will teach you about the most subtle and dangerous enemy you will face on the path to mastery, your own ego. Listen carefully, for this enemy has destroyed more warriors than any sword, derailed more masters than any obstacle, and prevented more achievement than any external force. The ego is the shadow that dims the light of wisdom, the weight that anchors potential, the wall that blocks progress. Understand this truth. The moment you believe you have nothing left to learn, you have everything left to learn. The instant you think you have achieved mastery, you have lost it. The second you decide you are wise, you become a fool. This is not philosophy. This is warfare. This is not theory. This is survival. In my lifetime, I watched countless talented warriors fall not to superior opponents, but to their own ego. They believed they had nothing left to learn, so they stopped learning. They thought they had reached the peak, so they stopped climbing. They decided they were masters, so they stopped being students. Their ego wrote checks their skills could not cash, and they paid with their lives. Your modern world feeds the ego constantly. It demands you declare your expertise, broadcast your achievements, proclaim your knowledge. It pushes you to position yourself as a master before you have mastered anything. This is poison. This is weakness. This is the path to mediocrity disguised as the path to greatness. But understand this deeper truth. True mastery is not the elimination of the student mindset, but the perfection of it. The genuine master remains the most dedicated student. The authentic expert maintains the deepest curiosity. The real warrior preserves the humility of a beginner even while developing the skills of a master. In your training, make this your foundation. Approach every session as a beginner. When you think you have mastered a movement, look deeper. When you believe you understand a principle, examine it again. When you feel you have reached a peak, look for a higher one. The ego will resist this. It will demand recognition. It will crave acknowledgement. It will seek to protect your image as someone who already knows, who has already achieved, who has already arrived. The weak train to demonstrate what they know. The warrior trains to discover what they don't know. The weak practice to confirm their beliefs. The warrior practices to challenge their assumptions. The weak learn to strengthen their ego. The warrior learns to transcend it. Your power will grow in direct proportion to your ability to remain a student. When others claim expertise, claim curiosity. When others broadcast their knowledge, broadcast your questions. When others settle into comfortable mastery, unsettle yourself with new challenges. This is not about false modesty. It is about genuine growth. This is not about self-deprecation. It is about self-transcendence. Learn to recognize the ego's tricks. It will tell you that you are above basic practice. It will convince you that you are beyond fundamental training. It will persuade you that you have nothing to learn from those less experienced. These are not the thoughts of a master. They are the whispers of mediocrity. They are not the voice of confidence. They are the sound of limitation. The epitome of mastery is not to be above the basics, but to find endless depth within them. It is not to transcend the fundamentals, but to discover their infinite subtleties. It is not to move beyond the essentials, but to perceive their limitless applications. This understanding is impossible for the ego, which always seeks to move on, to add more, to appear advanced. Your practice must become a constant rebellion against your ego's demands. When it seeks to display, train in private. When it craves recognition, focus on improvement. When it demands to teach, return to learning. This is not denial of your progress. It is protection of your growth. This is not rejection of your achievements. It is insurance of your advancement. Remember, every great warrior throughout history maintained the heart of a student while developing the skills of a master. Every genuine expert preserved the curiosity of a beginner while accumulating the knowledge of a sage. Every true master kept the humility of a novice while building the capability of an expert. Study without ego means to be strong enough to be weak, knowledgeable enough to admit ignorance, advanced enough to practice basics, and wise enough to say, I don't know. It means to be secure enough to be vulnerable, confident enough to be humble, and masterful enough to remain a student. This is your path now. To walk the razor's edge between confidence and humility, between capability and curiosity, between mastery and studentship. Let others fortify their egos. You will transcend yours. Let others defend their knowledge. You will expand yours. Let others proclaim their mastery. You will deepen your study. This is the way of the warrior, to be both master and student, both teacher and learner, both expert and novice, not in different moments, but in the same moment, not in different aspects, but in the same aspect, not in different areas, but in every area. This is not a choice. It is the only path to true mastery. Now, I will teach you about the most profound transformation a warrior must undergo, the death of the old self. Listen carefully, for this teaching is not about minor change or gradual improvement. It is about complete metamorphosis, absolute transformation, total rebirth. The warrior you must become cannot coexist with the person you currently are. Understand this truth. You cannot become what you need to be by remaining what you are. You cannot achieve what you must achieve by staying who you are. You cannot reach what you must reach by preserving who you are. The gap between your current self and your warrior self cannot be bridged. It can only be leaped across through complete transformation. In my life, I died many times before my physical death. Each transformation required the death of an old self, the burning away of old limitations, the sacrifice of old comforts. This was not metaphor, it was metamorphosis. This was not philosophy, it was rebirth. Each death was real, each transformation complete, each rebirth absolute. Your attachment to who you are is your greatest obstacle to becoming who you must be. Your loyalty to your current self is your biggest barrier to your future self. Your dedication to your existing identity is your strongest chain, holding you back from your true potential. This is not about improvement. It is about transformation. This is not about becoming a better version of yourself. It is about becoming an entirely new self. But understand this, the death of the old self is not a single event. It is a daily practice. Each morning, you must be willing to burn away who you were yesterday. Each day, you must be ready to sacrifice what you are for what you could become. Each moment, you must be prepared to die to your limitations so you can be reborn into your potential. The weak try to build upon who they are. The warrior is willing to destroy who they are. The weak try to improve their existing self. The warrior is ready to sacrifice their existing self. The weak try to preserve while growing. The warrior understands that true growth requires destruction of the old to make way for the new. Your training must become a funeral pyre for your former self. Each session should burn away another limitation, incinerate another weakness, reduce to ashes another barrier. This is not comfortable. Transformation never is. This is not easy. Rebirth never is. This is not safe. Metamorphosis never is. Learn to recognize the parts of yourself that must die. The voice that says, I can't. The belief that says, I'm not ready. The identity that says, this isn't who I am. These are not parts of you, they are chains around you. They are not your identity. They are your prison. They are not your nature. They are your limitations. The process of transformation is not gentle. It is not gradual. It is not comfortable. It is violent, like the caterpillar dissolving completely before becoming the butterfly. It is absolute, like the phoenix burning entirely before rising from the ashes. It is total, like death itself before rebirth. Your old self will fight to survive. It will create compelling reasons to stay the same. It will generate persuasive arguments for maintaining the status quo. It will produce endless excuses for avoiding transformation. Recognize these for what they are, the death throes of your limitations, the final struggles of your old self, the last gasps of your former identity. Remember, every great warrior in history had to die to their old self to be born into their true power. Every master had to sacrifice who they were to become who they needed to be. Every legend had to burn away their former identity to emerge in their full potential. This transformation must be total. You cannot keep parts of your old self while trying to become your new self. You cannot preserve comfortable aspects of your former identity while attempting to forge your warrior identity. You cannot hold on to old habits while trying to embody new principles. The transformation must be complete. The death of the old self creates space for the birth of the new self. The destruction of old limitations opens the way for new capabilities. The burning away of old identities allows for the emergence of new power. This is not loss, it is liberation. This is not destruction, It is creation. This is not ending, it is beginning. Your path forward requires nothing less than your complete transformation, not the improvement of who you are, the transcendence of who you are, not the enhancement of your current self, the rebirth of your entire self, not the refinement of your existing identity, the forging of a new identity. This is your path now, to die daily to who you were, to burn away constantly what you have been, to sacrifice continuously what limits you. Let others seek improvement. You will seek transformation. Let others enhance their current self. You will forge a new self. Let others refine who they are. You will become who you must be. This is the way of the warrior, to die before death, to transform before necessity, to rebirth before crisis. Your old self is not your enemy. It is your cocoon. It is not your adversary. It is your starting point. It is not your opponent. It is your raw material. But like the cocoon, it must be shed. Like the starting point, it must be left. Like the raw material, it must be transformed. Now I will reveal to you the final and most crucial battle you must face, the inner duel that determines all other battles. Listen with your entire being, for this teaching brings together everything I have shared, everything you have learned, everything you must master. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against any external enemy. It is against your weaker self. Understand this ultimate truth. Within you exist two warriors. One is strong, disciplined, unstoppable. This is your higher self, your warrior spirit, your true potential. The other is weak, hesitant, full of excuses. This is your lower self, your comfortable self, your path to mediocrity. Every moment of every day, these two selves are locked in combat. Every decision, every action, every choice is a battle between them. In my lifetime of duels, I discovered that every external battle was merely a reflection of this inner conflict. Every opponent I faced was secondary to the opponent within. Every victory I achieved was first won in this internal arena. This is not philosophy. This is the deepest practical truth of the warrior's path. Master this inner duel, and all external battles become simple. Lose this inner fight, and no external victory will ever be possible. Your weaker self is the most dangerous opponent you will ever face. It knows your fears because it created them. It knows your doubts because it planted them. It knows your weaknesses because it fostered them. And unlike external enemies, it never rests, never retreats, never surrenders. It is with you when you wake, with you when you train, with you when you rest, with you when you fight. But understand this: your weaker self is not your true self. It is not your natural state. It is not your genuine identity. It is a construct of your fears, a creation of your doubts, a manifestation of your limitations. Your warrior self, this is your true nature. Your higher self, this is your natural state. Your stronger self, this is your real identity. The battle between these selves never ends. Each morning when the alarm sounds, they fight over whether you will rise or rest. Each training session, they war over whether you will give your all or hold back. Each moment of decision, they clash over whether you will take the warrior's path or the weak path. This is not a battle you win once. It is a battle you must win continuously, consistently, constantly. Your training must become a deliberate choosing of your stronger self over your weaker self. Each rep, each set, each practice is not just physical training. It is a victory in this inner duel. When your weaker self says enough, you must let your warrior self say more. When your weaker self says rest, you must let your warrior self say continue. When your weaker self says tomorrow, you must let your warrior self say now. Learn to recognize the voices of both selves. Your weaker self speaks the language of comfort, of excuses, of delay. Your warrior self speaks the language of growth, of discipline, of action. Your weaker self promises ease, but delivers weakness. Your warrior self demands difficulty, but delivers strength. Your weaker self offers comfort, but leads to defeat. Your warrior self requires challenge, but leads to victory. This inner duel manifests in every aspect of your life. In your thoughts, will you entertain doubts or cultivate certainty? In your words, will you speak excuses or speak truth? In your actions, will you choose comfort or choose growth? In your decisions, will you take the easy path or take the warrior's path? Each moment is a battlefield. Each choice is a weapon. Each decision is a victory or defeat in this inner war. Remember, every great warrior throughout history faced this same inner duel. Every master had to repeatedly defeat their weaker self. Every legend had to continuously overcome their lower nature. This is not unique to you. It is universal to the path. This is not personal weakness. It is the human condition. This is not your private battle. It is the warrior's eternal war. Your power will grow in direct proportion to your ability to choose your warrior self over your weaker self. When fatigue calls for rest, choose to continue. When fear calls for retreat, choose to advance. When doubt calls for hesitation, choose to act. This is not about forcing, it is about choosing. This is not about fighting, it is about deciding. This is not about struggle, it is about selection. The ultimate practice is to make choosing your warrior self automatic, not through force but through habit, not through struggle but through consistent decision, not through battle but through repeated choice. Each time you choose your stronger self, you weaken your weaker self. Each time you select your warrior self, you diminish your lower self. Each time you opt for your higher nature, you starve your lower nature. This is your final challenge, to face this inner duel with full awareness, to engage in this internal battle with complete presence, to fight this private war with total commitment. Let others battle external enemies. You will master your internal enemy. Let others seek outside victories. You will secure inside victories. Let others conquer territories. You will conquer yourself. This is the ultimate way of the warrior, to engage in this inner duel, not with tension, but with awareness, not with force, but with choice, not with struggle, but with decision. Every morning, every moment, every decision is your battlefield. Every choice, every action, every thought is your weapon. Every victory over your weaker self is a step toward mastery. Remember, the warrior who conquers themselves is greater than the warrior who conquers 1,000 enemies. The master who defeats their lower nature is stronger than the master who defeats 1,000 opponents. The legend who wins this inner duel is mightier than the legend who wins 1,000 battles. This is your path. This is your way. This is your truth.